a video I've been sending to some of my female friends, especially some of their older, the 5 outcomes for women. I thought this was brilliant. I thought it was brilliant how you put statistics and percentages to each one of them. Can you go over those 5 outcomes?
Yeah, wow. It's been a while since I made that episode.
So it had to do with a woman deciding to not drop her standards, a woman deciding to drop her standards, and there's 5 ones, and then the one woman deciding to be with no one. Do you remember?
Yeah, I remember that there were 5 outcomes. The episode was called The Way It All Ends. I put a lot of effort into it. Basically, it has to do with whether the woman gets the man that she wants and or gets the relationship that she wants. And those two things are not quite the same. So let's assume that most women are gunning for long-term commitment from a very high value man. The issue is that those are the men that most women want, and they are awash in optionality right now. And at least a proportion of those men are not going to be interested in settling down anytime soon. So if a woman wants to bag one of those high value men, she might have to relax her relationship strictures to accommodate him because his exclusive commitment might be too expensive for her to purchase, basically.
Right.
So she might end up with the man she wants, but not with the relationship she necessarily wants. Okay. And I think there's like a less than 5% chance of that occurring. I think that was on the episode. And I give the reasons on the episode as well. A more likely outcome is that she gets the relationship she wants, but not necessarily with her first choice.
Yes.
And these are the men who might have to compensate for their relative lack of attraction by offering things that more attractive men either could not or would not offer. Namely, exclusive commitment is the most salient thing. Exclusive commitment is something that women value very highly because it's something that they don't have to give. It's something that men as the gatekeepers of commitment can give. And it's something that the most attractive men are very loath to dispense with because of the opportunity costs associated with that and their, let's say, reproductive incentives. So these less attractive men can sometimes conjure value out of nothing by offering an exclusive commitment. I say that it's value out of nothing because they might not have any other options, right? So on some level, it might be expensive for that woman to commit because she could potentially have other partners or other men, but no one might be banging down that guy's door for sex or a relationship. So he is,
so his exclusivity is not worth anything.
The woman already had exclusivity with a guy like that, but he's able to conjure value out of nothing. In general, it's the partner, man or a woman, who has fewer options, who's going to be pushing harder for a sexually exclusive commitment in any given relationship.
And the 5th one was them not hooking up at all. A woman ended up alone. Was that the 5th one? I'm trying to remember. There were 5 different outcomes.
Yeah, the 5th one would be that they end up with nobody.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that was about 20 to 25%.
25%, yeah. You the statistic I think you brought 25% of women unmarried in their 40s, and then also 60% of women under 30 are childless. That was another statistic that I thought was interesting.
And also that I think over 80% of women who are childless at 40 were involuntarily childless.
Yes, meaning like only 10% of them, it was because of a medical issue, and the rest of them, it was because of
either a medical issue or they truly didn't want children for whatever reason. The other 80% did and thought that they had more time.
The other one that I really thought was great was, and I've given this advice many times, was the concept of a woman coming to you and saying, I jumped into a sexual encounter with a guy too quickly and it didn't work out. And so from this point on, I'm not going to jump into a sexual encounter. And your response to them was, no, I don't think things didn't work out because you jumped into the sex too quickly. And then also the concept of men wait. If a man is willing to wait for sex, that means he's got too much time on his hands. Can you go into that concept?
Yeah, absolutely. If a woman makes man wait, then she's going to end up with men with time on their hands. Yeah. And if a man is very busy, if a man is successful and the man has lots of options, that woman would have to be so insanely attractive to justify the expense and the opportunity cost of waiting that, I mean, just very few, vanishingly few women would be able to pull that off.
Yeah.
So I talk about giving the richest, creamiest milk possible, which is really, really important in a culture that, for better or for worse, exists in which sex precedes commitment.
Right.
We can argue about how it shouldn't be this way and it's leading to all these negative consequences, but that's not going to go anywhere anytime soon. The fact of the matter is that in the West, sex happens first. You date casually for some weeks or some months, and then you define the relationship. and it moves in that direction or not, right?
Right.
So that's another thing for women to appreciate. When I talk a lot about sex, it's like, well, yeah, but sex has important downstream consequences. Like downstream from sex is the commitment and the marriage and the children that you might want. Like you can't expect the man to give you that up front. That's just too high of a cost, especially in a market where that's not the progression that we've decided exists.
And that's why you use, I believe you said a phrase that women end up punishing the men that they really want.
Well, yeah, and that's because punishing takes effort.
Right.
It takes time and it takes expense. If a woman doesn't like you, she's not even going to bother punishing you.
Do you hate going to the nightclub and want a better way to meet high-quality women? Comment the word guide below, and I'll send you my step-by-step instruction for building a high-status Instagram so you can start meeting high-quality women today.